From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is a severe weather alert.
And good morning, everybody. The time is 10:34, so just a little after 10:30. Meteorologist Taylor Plott here along with meteorologist Chase Wilson. Going to do another update here because we do now have a new tornado watch that is in effect for a good chunk of Mississippi, and that is a PDS tornado watch. That stands for particularly dangerous situations. So these are the type of tornado watches where the type of tornadoes that we're expecting to happen today are those strong to violent long track tornadoes. So that's why it's a higher end tornado watch. Now, the tornado watch that you see here for Hardin County and points off to the west here, this has been canceled. So this will eventually drop off the board at some point. And the only tornado watch that is in effect now will be for areas to the south of the Mississippi-Tennessee state line. So this does include Tishomingo County, includes Itawamba County, and places off to the southwest. Now, us here in the rest of southern middle Tennessee and northern Alabama, we do not have any watch in effect. The tornado watch that was in place this morning has been canceled for a while now. There's still some shower activity going on, Chase, and I do see we have a new tornado warning here. So let's go ahead and pop on the radar and we'll take a look at I just want to do a kind of big view to just show exactly what's happening in our area first, and then we'll make our way down to the southwest and take a look at those storms ongoing. But right now, the bulk of the rain has shifted all the way up basically to the Interstate 24 corridor here, and then kind of I-40, this kind of little bulge right here. So that's with a warm front that's lifting north of the area, and that is allowing us to get more unstable here. There's going to be breaks in the clouds that are already occurring in parts of northern Alabama, but that's just to show we don't have any active weather, no active warnings, no active advisories in place for our immediate area, but we are watching these storms now off to the southwest. New tornado warning here that does include Oxford, Mississippi. So the campus of Ole Miss is now in a tornado warning, and it's for this supercell right down here. And even though this is pretty far away looking, this is the Memphis next rad, yep. That's still a pretty good signature down here. So the fact that we're seeing that far away from the radar tells me two things. One, that the mesocyclone, the whole circulation of the thunderstorm, is pretty well organized and it goes pretty high up into the atmosphere. That's exactly what we're expecting today with the potential volatile atmosphere in place. As these storms, they'll grow to potentially 40, 50, 60,000 feet later on today, and that's where that circulation, it goes really high up into the thunderstorm, and that can produce those bigger tornadoes. The other thing is it's not only strong, but it's organized as well. That's why you're starting to see this hook feature right here just south of Charleston. This is looks like Mississippi State Route 35 here. Yep. So again, this will continue to make its way on off to the northeast, eventually cross Interstate 55 between Oakland and Grenada, and then eventually make its way on off to the northeast towards Oxford, Mississippi. So Chase, why don't we kind of back it out? I know that this is out of our viewing area, but let's give a heads up. If you can do like a time of arrival, not necessarily a storm track, but do the time of arrival and kind of take it up to here. I think it's kind of moving more northeast as opposed to northeast right now. So if this cell does hold together, which there's a good chance it will, these are the type of supercells that will last for hours on end. They're not going to develop, produce a tornado, and then weaken and collapse. They're going to last for a long time today. So right now, that's about 130 miles away, and he has it pointed right here towards Hardin County and the Savannah area. So if it does continue on this general trend here, you can expect it to get into northern Mississippi, northeastern Mississippi, talking about Corinth and the Iuka areas, probably sometime closer to noon, and then eventually get up into parts of Hardin County in our viewing area, anywhere I would say between 1 and 1:30. I think a 30-minute kind of give or take on this time will be pretty doable for this. So that's for that supercell that's now coming up towards Oxford, Mississippi, that has a tornado warning on it. Now I want to go, if you want to go to, I don't know if we have DGX. We do not. If you can go to the radar network at that point, and we'll take a look at this. This is the supercell that does have a confirmed tornado on it, and this is just to the north of Rolling Fork now. We've been watching a weather camera, the HazCams, over there in Rolling Fork, and that has we've seen the tornado in there. So it is on the ground, but there is, rain wrapping around it. So this is another supercell that we'll have to keep an eye on if you want to back things out again. And again, this is to give you an idea of where these storms are headed. Again, we're not dealing with a true line of storms. We're going to deal with this batch of storms that has more individual supercells within it, but then we're also going to be watching stuff that develops out ahead of it. But again, if you take the current radar situation, there would be supercell number 1, and that would make its way on off into potentially the Savannah area by about 1 to 1:30. And then this one down here, if you kind of take that line, that would probably mosey its way on off towards the Tupelo area. That's usually where that track ends up. Again, if you remember the Rolling Fork tornado, what year was that? That was 2 years ago, 2023. It did eventually get up towards the Tupelo area. So that's where that supercell trajectory, historically, that's where, if you look at a storm down there, it's going to eventually head up into this area. So if you take a long lapse of where that could go, Tupelo would be in line probably a couple hours down the road, and that could eventually make its way on off into parts of northwestern Alabama, talking about the Florence, the Shoals area, and eventually Russellville, maybe the Hamilton area as well. So this is what we have going on right now. Again, we have no active severe warnings in our area. There's no active tornado watches for parts of southern Tennessee and parts of northern Alabama. The only exception is for extreme northeastern Mississippi, so Tishomingo County. And again, that is a PDS tornado watch, and that goes until 6 p.m. And again, PDS standing for particularly dangerous situation. So these are the tornadoes that you really need to heed the warnings on today. If there's any good news about this type of setup today, is that we can give you these warnings well out in advance. These aren't going to be, they're quickly dropping, you have very little lead time and it's gone. No, these are going to be, the tornadoes will develop, the warning boxes, the polygons will go out for a ways, and we can give you 30 minutes, maybe even an hour at some point, kind of like what we did here. I mean, that we drew that line that went from the Oxford tornado warning to Savannah, and that would probably get there at about 1:30-ish, give or take about 30 minutes. So that's the type of situation that if you want to take anything that's good from this, it's the fact that we can give you a long heads up with these tornado warnings and these potentially strong to, in some cases, violent tornadoes, where if you do need to go and seek shelter in a underground storm shelter or go down the road to your nearest storm shelter, whether that's at your fire department, school, or community center, wherever those are located, we can give you a long heads up for that warning. So if there's any good thing to take from today, it's that aspect of it. Chase, do you have anything on your end before we toss it back to our regular programming?
Nothing over here. I was just looking at some things behind the scenes. And
yeah.
Actually, just over my head here, I was looking at the mosaic of the radar. And matter of fact, I can actually throw that up here.
Yeah, go ahead and do it.
And that's some interesting storms developing now. Matter of fact.
Okay, so this is our radar.
Yeah,
here.
this is our radar up here in Tennessee, and are starting to see some of that development up here of an interesting kind of features, right? So
yeah,
not severe or anything like that, but I just kind of want to highlight that development already ongoing.
What's the velocity on that? Because sometimes, even though there's really nothing going on, there's a little bit there. So one of the things that we can tell with the type of environment today is even with, I mean, this is technically, I guess you could say it's a thunder shower. I see some lightning there. But even though there's nothing severe here, there is a little bit of rotation on the back end of that. So while a tornado most likely is not going to take place from this shower, at least in the near term, we'll have to continue to watch things just in case. But the atmosphere will tell you, especially with showers like this that are not extremely tall, and they're already rotating to some extent, that just tells you the environment that we're in for this afternoon. So if it's getting this little thing to start to rotate, again, it's not tornadic, but it is slowly rotating. That tells me everything I need to know about what the atmosphere is like for today. So again, PDS Tornado Watch now in effect for Tishomingo County and points to the southwest. The Tornado Watch here in southern Tennessee that includes Hardin County is going to be, or is canceled. So eventually this will drop off the board. I guess maybe they just expired it, Chase. Maybe they're just saying it's expired
Yeah,
and they're
I
waiting
think
for
you're
it
right.
to, I guess that's at 11 a.m. is when that actually goes to. So eventually this will drop off the board. So again, we're still watching the storms off to our southwest. Again, please heed the warnings today. We'll be here nonstop when we do have active severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings in effect for our area. Until then, the time is 10:44. There's no active warnings for our area, so we'll toss you back to your regularly scheduled program. For meteorologist Chase Wilson, I'm meteorologist Taylor Plott. Thanks for joining us today, and stay tuned. Keep it here. We'll keep you advised.